Megadeth museum. That's
right, man.
Which is cool though, because these are blowing out the door like hotcakes right now, which is great because it's a brand new series that we did, 4 and 5 string, white and black.
Yeah,
and
man.
Just killing it. Right?
In fact, you played them the first couple of shows, testing them out.
They got voted best bass at NAMM, like what are the music retailer, which is sort of the Billboard magazine of the the NAMM show thing.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Yeah, I mean this was like a big game changer for the decade with Jackson too, which is cool. So
you're gonna sign. They're gonna talk to you a little
sign.
bit about it.
Do it. Yep.
Cool. So we don't have the boxes.
No, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out, man. It's what's really cool about these two is it kind of brings Jackson to the 21st century.
Totally.
You have the truss rod spoke adjustment.
See, the beauty of it is Jackson's owned by Fender.
Yeah.
So if they take market share from Fender, from this pocket to this pocket.
Yeah.
So it was one of the rare coups in the bass business where we could actually do that and not, because the headstock is always the IP.
Yes.
That's the thing that and they own that IP. So if one day Jackson and Fender ever part ways, they can't litigate each other, which is nice.
Yeah, man. I love what you did too with the controls. I was watching a video from your model, I think 2 years back I had one of them.
Yeah.
And where you had it more conform to the shape of your hand.
Yeah, well, those other ones, when the first ones they made for me when I came back to Megadeth, because these were very different. It used to just be a toggle and 3 knobs, and it was easy, right?
Yeah.
Then with EMG, there's all this other stuff. There's all these other 3-band EQs, so they had them clustered, and I would hit them. But as a finger player, you wouldn't, but as a pick player, you would. When I was at PB, before I came back, into Megadeth, I was working at PB, and they did a signature bass for me, and I thought this was the most brilliant thing, because anywhere you go, you can take something and turn that and straighten it out.
Definitely.
You just throw them in a gig bag and fly, and the neck bends a bit. That's such a. The other ones, it's such a hassle. You got to take the top off to do the truss rod. It's such an old school.
Yeah, man.
And the other thing that we did on these is we flipped this. When this is up here, you get this very Fender sound, which is a very honky, like 800 hertz sound that is not good for metal, at least in my opinion. When you flip this, at least for me, it gets this thing right inside the kick drum and gets we've got the Marshall sound right for Dave and Kiko, so that's a very mid-range heavy sound. This allows it to go down underneath it and wrap up over top of it. So there's like a reason. Plus, I think it looks cool, but it takes away that thing that doesn't make a Fender work in Megadeth.
Do you record with the EMGs as well?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, back in the day, Jackson had a great pickup, but you hear that pickup now compared to, when one thing changes, it all changes. The preamps are different, the power amps are different, everything front of house is different, the drum tones, the mic, everything gets better and better. So you can't just go, well, I want my old Jackson sound, because that old Jackson sound, it sounded good as technology was in 1990.
Yeah, man.
But now in 2020, Dave's amp sounds better. Everything sounds better. So all of it has to sort of upgrade together. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, dude. I mean, I know these are this new import model.
Mm-hmm.
The fit and finish on this is
friggin' great.
I mean, you take a USA Jackson from the 80s and 90s, great made guitar, but you take this and put a blindfold on, and
I know
this feels
they're
great.
straight, and the necks are just
the quality. I mean, you look at the cut on the maple.
I thought the same thing when you pull them out. And you know what's interesting about these two in particular?
What's
You've
that?
got this nice figure right here,
beautiful.
both of them, which is very cool. When I pulled them out, I was like, wait a minute, it's like the exact same. I know, they're great.
Now, I'm not a bass player, but these are high mass bridges.
High mass bridges.
And what do you like about the high mass bridge versus more traditional?
We started originally. We couldn't even have these because Jackson didn't even make them. So because basically I was inventing the new Jackson moving forward. We sit in these meetings and I just dream stuff up according to what I think works for me.
Well, you're like the head of bass
exactly
for Jackson.
I'm their ambassador, and I'm their design consultant to do all the bass work for them. So. Originally we had to get the Leo Kwan,
the badass,
but they're a pain in the ass. The screws stick up, they rip your hand up. And he can only make so many, so we would buy all of them, and then he would be out of them, and then it would stop production. So and when you get into a production, any company this size needs to make their own proprietary OEMs, as they call them, right? Their own original equipment, right? So this is awesome because 5-string. Bridges, there's a lot of them out there, but I particularly don't like most of them, so we machined this to kind of take the best of what Badass did, but make it actually be a more comfortable, user-friendly. Yeah, phenomenal. The adjustments are better on it, everything about it. So everything on here is basically, 30 years of taking what worked, what didn't, putting in better components like the EMG, Jackson making now their own high mass. And so it's really, there's a story to these instruments because I helped basically create them with Jackson.
Killer, man. Well, I'm honored to have you sign them and talk to us about them.
Yeah.
I love the shape of the pick guard too.
Right.
How do you innovate a pick guard?
Right.
Who came up with that? Did you draw that?
You know what? We rendered a couple. The first one they rendered looked almost exactly like the Steve Harris bass. I'm like, okay, that's not going to work because that looks just like a Fender. We don't want that. We want Jackson to just be its own high octane bass, as Jackson always is. So we we cut off this. We figured it doesn't need to have that Fender bit that comes down around the pick guard, or down around the electronics. And I don't like in a Fender, these knobs are attached to the pick guard.
It's a good point, right? So for servicing and stuff like that.
The pick guard is really, it's really a visual thing. It's not like these pickups are
they're not mounted to the pick guard. Or
that's what I don't
like
like about Fenders. All the electronics are attached to the pick guard. Everything here is actually milled into the body. Right?
Killer.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Let's get you some pens.
There you go. Let's do it. Hey.
All right.
And
let's see here.
Yeah.
We'll do a black one, I think, for the light one.
Okay, cool.
And we get a silver one for the black one. Killer, dude.
Yeah, man. The matching pair. Okay. Now these are hanging on a wall, or are you going to be playing them, or what are you going to do? Because if you're going to play them, I'd sign them here because you don't want your hand to wear the thing up.
That's a really
If you're just going to have them hanging on a wall or mounted, then let's sign them where there's the most amount of...
I'll tell you what, sign them here.
I think it's good here.
I think they will get some use for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Right on.
And then...
Be silver for that one.
Yeah. And what's cool is even though they don't look like it, they very much are a signature model.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Just like on the USA Custom Shop
strategically
ones.
put it on the back, right? So this way, some dude who wants to play country and western music or play in church doesn't feel like they bought a Megadeth bass, but then when they get home, it's like, presto, we fooled you.
I think that's a brilliant move because some guys get really funny about having other guys' signatures on it.
I don't like to fix those either.
Now leave it.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it just like that.
Okay, cool.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll, man.
Let's leave it right there like that. Let's let that dry. All right, there you go. Perfect.
And now tell us about this coffee. 'Cause I had no idea you did coffee.
Sure. Yeah.
The what's the market? Like the
So
global
the
market
first
on coffee
guy
right now? It's huge.
that we did this with was Paul Wagner from the band Between the Buried and Me.
Yes.
He and his wife have a little coffee roasting business out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And so originally he was like, look, just put my name on it.
There you go.
Sell some online, send me some checks if we make any money, right?
Yeah.
It's just that kind of thing. And then we quickly outgrew that, so we've had to move to other roasters. But now I got a roaster. This actually came from the roaster in London. I got a roaster in Brazil. I got a roaster in Minneapolis, one in Phoenix. So we've got quite a few of them now around the world. And this originally, I got a love for coffee. It's kind of been with me since I moved to LA. Since the first drummer that was in Megadeth, Dijon Carruthers, he and I were the coffee guys.
Yeah.
So we'd sit around and drink coffee, and I'd do whatever else, and drink coffee. And so it's just, this is, I don't drink anymore, so I don't do wine and beer and all that kind of stuff, right? Obviously Megadeth does and Dave does, so, as you can drink Megadeth beer, you can drink Ellefson coffee to sober you up before you drive home.
Absolutely. I love it. That's killer.
Yeah. So there you go. Do
That's
you want me to
awesome,
sign
man.
that, or you want to just leave that as is?
I'll tell you what, let's sign that
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Let's use a different. Do you have a Sharpie?
I don't know if we have a white one. Black one.
Only because that one leaked, and it'll or even the gold one.
The gold one. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Here, and this bag is actually kind of good for signing on. There you go.
That's badass, man.
Actually, there you go. Perfect. There you go.
Really cool.
Nice.
Actually, can I trouble you to sign a bass?
Sure.
That's right here.
Yeah.
Slap
Oh,
it
yeah.
on next to Dave.
Perfect.
That would be great.
This one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Let me get that pen work. There you go.
That's awesome, man. We'll
Done.
put the bean bass to good use.
Yeah, those are good basses too. They play well. Exactly.
Well, for the camera, this has been
Okay.
David Ellefson and Keith Gannon from Essex Recording Studios, right before the London show here at SSE Wembley Arena. Dude, it's been phenomenal
Yeah,
meeting you.
likewise.
100%.
Yeah.
We'll catch you later after the show, guys.
See ya.